Every month there's a phenomenon known as the full moon. And the full moon shines bright all through the night and till the sunrise in the morning. And then that following day is called New Moon Day. Most people recognize New Moon Day as the conjunction moon, or it's completely unseen, and then there are others that recognize it as a crescent moon. But let's pretend for a moment that you have no devices to use such as paper, pencils, computers with various programs, telescopes, clocks, watches, TVs, radios, etc. And let's pretend for a moment that you are stranded in a desert island, and you're even an island with no people around. And the day that you arrive at this location, you have no recollection of what time, day, and or month it is. All you have in your possession is the Scriptures, and you are fully aware that you cannot take away and or add to what it states. This is what could be called as truly a set-apart situation. And let's pretend for a moment it's something very possible in the future, where the power goes off. If you wanted to still practice the feasts and understand a Sabbath day, how would you do it? With the full moon, and as you can see, here, even in inclement weather, the full moon shines bright. You can acknowledge it. It's in plain sight, even in inclement weather. Today is April 3rd of the Gregorian calendar. And with that said, tomorrow for full moon believers is New Moon Day. The challenge is, in the Scriptures, it gives us 4 witnesses. And most people that create calendars only take one part of the 4 witnesses. They calculate their calendar on the utilization of the sun alone, the moon alone, the stars alone, and then there are some that just use Zabib, the ripening of the barley. But the Scriptures don't state just one of the 4 items, or what we would call the 4 witnesses. The calendar in the heavens from Yahuah himself works very much like a watch. A minute hand, an hour hand, a second hand. And thus the reason why we are asked in Genesis or Bereshith chapter 1 verses 14 through 18 to consider the lights of the sun, moon, and stars. Keep in mind, the moon only shines brightly because of the sun. It's solar powered. So, with this said, today, what we're looking at is standing on the earth in Barrie, Ontario. Behind this camera is the sun. And standing on planet Earth, viewing this full moon event on April 3rd, the evening of, we get to see a full, bright, shining moon. Again, even in inclement weather. So, if we were all alone, stranded on an island, with no devices as said, could you actually determine the first day of any given month with a conjunction moon? In inclement weather? Certainly not. Could you do it with a crescent moon? It would be extremely difficult. And at the end of the day, on a night like this, near impossible. If not impossible. So, as I'm standing on the balcony of my home, I'd get a comfort that if I was stranded on an island, I could actually utilize the full moon to identify the first day of any given month. So once the full moon, once a month, does what it does, rising in the east and then setting in the west, the following day at sunrise is New Moon Day, or day 1 of any given month. So there'll be more on this. The plan is to film each full moon evening into that morning, and then at sunrise discuss on each given month the historical values and characteristics that the Scriptures share in regards to first month, second month, third month, fourth month. And for all that study these types of calendars, Yahuah does not name his months or his days. He numbers them with the caveat or exception that the first month is called Abib. And let's talk about that. Here I am, April 3rd. Tonight it's basically 2 degrees Celsius out, which is 35.6 degrees Fahrenheit. This is not spring. Many would argue at this point this is the 13th month, because the full moon is not at the feet of Virgo, the woman, in regards to the stars. So again, sun, moon, and stars, the three witnesses, and then Abib certainly gives us a clue in regards to putting all of this together. 4 witnesses in total, 4 hands moving on the watch, so to speak. So with all of this said, there'll be more to follow, Yahuah willing, and we thank you for all of the help from the fellow repairers of the breach, who have started repairing the breach in regards to the name, which is above all names, using the correct name as it states in Exodus or Shemoth chapter 3 verse 15, and again reiterated in many scriptural passages, including Acts chapter 4 verse 12, where there's only one name under the heavens in which we can be delivered. So more to follow, Yahuah willing, and again thanks to the repairers of the breach for revealing the true name, specifics about the Torah, that it indeed has not been nailed to the cross, and then last but not least, the calendar, the true calendar. And if the power indeed does go off at one time, that we are totally capable of identifying the first day of any given month, and as such, the Sabbaths and the Moedim, or feast days, of Yahuah, as it's described in Leviticus or Vayikra, chapter 23, verses 1 and 2, and the final verse in chapter 23. So all the best in the name which is above all names, and thank you very much for this opportunity to share. Well, here we are again, looking at the full moon. The previous video was from last evening, April 3rd on the Gregorian calendar, and the full moon was bright and shining even in inclement weather. Well, here we are this morning, and as Scripture states, that full moon will go through the entire night, and at sunrise will still be alive and well, and at sunrise it indeed will announce a new day. As shared earlier, these videos are not for training or teaching purposes. They're intended to motivate others to get out and look at the astronomical movements of the heavens to understand the true calendar of Yahuah. As we can see again, today this will announce New Moon Day as soon as sunrise commences, and unfortunately the world will once again start its days in the dark. The world always does things opposite to what Yahuah does, as we read in Yeshayahu or Isaiah chapter 55 verses 8 through 9. Yahuah has his own ways. The world does it always opposite. So the world starts its days at midnight or in the dark. The world always starts everything in the dark. Yahuah does everything in the light. And hopefully other videos will share the scriptural passages that will highlight this, no pun intended. So the other phenomenon today is we have ourselves the third blood red moon of the tetrad sequence, tetrad standing for 4 blood red moons. It should be noted though, should we be just focusing on the 4 tetrad blood red moons, what is really the highlight and phenomena is 7 blood red moons in 7 years, and we'll have some other videos that will highlight this. But as you can see behind me, the blood red moon is just getting geared up, and for a very brief moment it will highlight itself as a blood red moon.